Hello, welcome to another reaction video of top YouTuber gunsmiths for the Season 1 2024. First up, we have the big homie Jokesta. I have to declare I am an admin for him, and he does a collab for this type of content with cygboux and his research community. They're known as the cygboux or the gunsmiths elves, I think. It's a team effort, and what happens is Jokesta showcases the top 10 that they've come up first, and then cygboux releases his the next day or a little bit later.
Homies, this is Jokesta, and today's video is going to be freaking awesome.
Okay, so let's jump into it.
Starting off at number 10 on the list.
Okay, the UL's in number 10. HissingThoughts approves of that, and it came out with obviously that new suppressed barrel, which I did content about recently. It was a little bit of fun, but this is the best loadout for the UL. And then we've got the Growl in 9th, which is interesting because we just came through the World Champs 2023, and there were only two guns pretty much predominantly used. It was the Growl and it was the Fennec, and then there's just a sprinkle of things elsewhere, like a sniper or whatever. That barrel that they're using on the default gives the best iron sight. So if you are using this with an iron sight, that barrel there and the default skin is the way to go. It's beautiful. This is a very easy gun to use, big ammo capacity. It is a beam at range. It's very versatile. You can't go wrong with it. It's like the AR of the PB Bison. Okay, and then we've got 8 is the, well, actually, is it 8? I need to hear this.
The Growl is the kilo.
Okay, I think it's equal. So there's the loadout that he's got. It looks pretty solid. That looks nice and passive, and for playing range, this is the one that surprised everyone. Maddox.
8 on the list is the Maddox. Guys, yeah, I was thinking that the Maddox is gonna be like up top, but it's not.
Yeah, it's yeah, I'm surprised. When we get to Cygnoux's video, you'll hear a bit more about this. I tried this in Clan Wars just before starting the stream. It's not for me. It's the Echo Fire Barrel is what's recommended. It's the loadout there, and if you're a real passive player, I think, and you've got really good aim, but yeah, I tried it. It's not for me. And then 7 is the CX9. There was a bit of minor excitement using the 12 round ammunition, but honestly, I watch a lot of scrims, comp scrims and stuff, and yeah, I don't think it's got longevity there, but hey, this is cool. If you've got a mythic version, iron sights are an issue. The Switchblade now.
Top of 7, like top.
Okay, so they are bundling a bunch of guns together. So it's like this is 7th, but it's not one gun, it's a bunch. Now, at the start of the rank series, which was last month, 2 battle pass seasons to 1 rank series, remember guys and girls, we've still got a month of rank left. This gun here, I was consistently dying to it. So I think that's still a great gun. Very mobile, very aggressive, very deadly.
Can, you know, destroy people with it. Surprise.
Especially if you've got the mythic version. That's something to note, that Sir Jokesta's flexing all his mythic versions. It makes sense from a content partner point of view, because it's part of the marketing, is, you know, they need to sell weapons. And these are often a little bit pay to winish.
Hey, Hades. I'd never use this.
Okay, now this was interesting because some of you might have been in the stream. We had cygboux come and hang out on one of my streams very recently, and we were talking about the Hades, because that's my main weapon, and we were he was suggesting with the aim assist laser and dropping disabled and putting on pinpoint. So we tried that. This is what I use for S&D, and this is actually what cygboux has supplied to Jokesta as the preferred Hades loadout. That's my loadout. So, yay! And I think he actually mentions me here. Hang on.
LMG, I don't really want to use it, but this is the build if you want to play around with Hades. It's out there. I mean, if you want to. I'm not saying it's the greatest gun. I'm not an LMG guy, but if you guys like LMGs, go check out HissingThoughts. He likes to post videos on that. This is the...
Thank you, homie. Okay, I do use the Holger, and this is the loadout I use. A lot of my loadouts are cygboux loadouts, or they are tectonic loadouts, or space loadouts, or sometimes power loadouts. I watch stuff, I get inspired to try it out, I try it out. But for an ADS LMG, this is great. And I do have the mythic gun, and it's awesome to use. Hawksnest in the chat. Sheesh. We're going to do hawksnest next, actually, because I'm pretty sure he's on the list. I'm sure he did the very first top 10 video, actually. We were talking about the research community.
10 seasons, the Holger 26 has been up there, so
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
That's a good point. The Holger, now at this stage, probably is the longest running meta weapon from this top 10 perspective. I would argue the DLQ never left either, but I'm more an S&D player, so it's not unusual to see 5-man sniper squads on the opposition in S&D. Okay, what's next?
20 or LG 20.
Okay, so the KN and the LK sort of linked together. They've always kind of been the same. I remember back when Path was the LK guy and cygboux was the KN guy, and they used to have these little arguments. They were debating, arguing the merits of each, and they're kind of the same gun. Just this one, the KN's a little bit more aggressive. The recoil's not quite as good.
I think so.
Whereas the LK
this is the KN40.
Less.
This is the build. This is without the laser.
I was in the LK camp, to be honest, guys. I don't use either of these now. I use a UL. Okay, this is interesting. The FFAR, cygboux's been a massive fan of the FFAR, and it's actually interesting that it's just not used that much, to be honest, in rank. When I conclude my games, I often go through and look at what everyone's using. I ain't seen one of these. Even in comp, watched a lot of comp lately. I think people are starting to realize that maybe the DRH isn't the best gun, but they've been using a lot of DRH, but I ain't seen any FFARs. And this is a great gun. If you're a Fennec user, this should be a better fit for you. It's got range. It's got time to kill and damage and bullets, and it keeps coming in and out of my guns, my top 10. Yeah, FFAR is definitely underrated. Yep, I agree.
It is the.
cygboux's been trying for bloody a year, I think, trying to get people to.
FFAR1. This is the build that you should be using.
Now, a thing to remember, these are cygboux builds, so cygboux is very, very good at, wait for it, hawksnest, controlling recoil. It's in a weird spot. There's so many guns now. So for someone like me, I'm probably going to drop on a laser and change the barrel to the 20.
Again, like I tell everybody, you guys...
My recoil control is basic.
Should just try out the gunsmith and then adjust it to your style.
Yep, I'd agree with that. So there's a number of different ways to build it. cygboux did do a focused video on this just recently. Actually, he also did, we're going to show his video after hawksnest's. Hawksnest did something a little bit different, a lot different actually. Okay, and then we've got the M13. That's a fine gun. I occasionally die to that. I don't like it just because most guns with bullet speed, when I'm playing on high ping North America, I just the ping eats my bullets.
Because it sounds better, but for this build, it's completely different. I used to use something else, and now it's this build.
That's a range build, right there. So these are power position guns, not necessarily passive as such, but hold your lanes. That's the other thing is most top 10 lists you see are not with S&D in mind. I'd actually like to see Jokesta do an S&D specific, like top 5. He could do top 10, but where would he rate the Tundra and the DLQ in the context of S&D? Would he put, what's his most aggressive go-to? And then include secondaries, because he likes a C4 and a Tomahawk. That would be really interesting. I love it when people do that. And then he's got, okay, this is another one. This PDW is underutilized as well. It's basically the old CBR. And we did see one of those tonight in rank.
Is the one that shocked me the most.
Oh yeah, the DRH. Okay, so Hawksnest is, sorry, not Hawksnest. cygboux is favoring the mono suppressor for a little bit of damage range and boost it'll be a cost of bullet spread accuracy. Now, this gun has been everywhere in Master Series and in the Comp Series over the last, actually going back at the end of the World Champs, the large cal ammo attachment on the HVK, is it large cal? I think it is. That got banned. And that was the OP #1 gun. and arguably could still be in rank. But for the comp scene, all of a sudden, if you're watching any of the footage, like on CODM Esports YouTube channel, where I'm banned, apparently, justice for HissingThoughts, guys. I've been accidentally banned on the comp channel, and no one can see my comments, so I've been hidden, which I can only imagine is accidentally, because I ain't done shit. Anyway, this is what they went for once the HVK got banned, and everybody was using it. Everybody. It went from ground, Fennec to just this damn thing everywhere. Now, I gotta say, the DRH Snake Gun, the free legendary that we got, or those of us that played BR and multiplayer, I love it. It's a HissingThoughts gun, and I love using it. I can use it in rank and clan wars and have fun with it. I use the 25 rounds as well, because generally S&D, but I'll use the tac suppressor, and that's aligned with what the comp loadout is, and it works better for me than the mono suppressor. Okay, I've spoken to people like Raborlo and who else, just they swear it's the #1 gun in the game. From their point of view, they're not focused on rank, they're focused on comp. They've been using it many hours a day for weeks now, possibly months, so they're very good with it. That doesn't mean it's the best gun in the game. But from their perspective, that's, if the HVK large cal wasn't banned, would that still hold true? They're affected by competition rules. For space, it would be the SKS. He would never have stopped using that. He still uses it in rank now and then, but he was a monster with that thing. He was the best version of himself using that, and it's banned in comp. So it's just, he's got to practice something else.
#1 on the list.
Okay, so it is the
officially
HVK.
HVK 30.
Yep.
If you haven't seen this already, you guys
is the
already know
loadout
this.
large cal.
Everybody knows that the HVK 30 is a very good gun. Nothing.
Show of hands if you use the HVK. I've seen Dan use it when he's struggling in sweaty rank S&D top 5,000 in North America. It's not his preferred weapon, but that's what people often bust out when they just need to win. Then they have a tier 0 is what Signy tends to do. What is this? Oh, this is interesting, guys, because HissingThoughts did content on this before.
Let's say 0, just
it was. It's been popularized now, but
for the video.
You guys know this,
but it's not the full auto version. This is the tap fire, where you got to tap a lot.
Yeah, you guys saw me stream with us and do a video about that. This was the new SKS. So it is, they're pairing them together. Take your pick. SKS is more passive. Hold your angle. This can be a bit more aggressive. I liked it. It was a fun gun. The thing you lose is you can't use disabled perk because it's an AR versus an SKS. Both guns are fun. I can sometimes play well with it. It's not my natural style.
I might actually make a video on this because it
Do it,
seems like
Jokesta.
this might be the move.
And it's paired with the SKS.
This is the build that you guys should try out.
And they're saying
Try
shotguns
them
for
out.
shotgun
This is the build.
players.
Next one is
Who uses the R1? It is the occasional comp go-to for Summit. That's really where you see it. Otherwise, you don't see shotguns.
this gun. This is the new shot.
Even this is a great. The Argus is amazing. It's the snotty dusk. Look at this gun. The ADS movement on it's terrible.
Shotgun that came out, and
Actually, they've changed the barrels, so I don't know what impact that has.
this is the latest build that, if you want to try this out, go for it.
Here's your Tundra.
And it is the
I need to check actually whether I've unlocked this now from the battle pass. I may well have done tonight. Okay, the next one is going to be hawksnest. Okay, so what he's done is he's done it as a, do you call it a continuum? He's starting with the most passive gun, running through to the most aggressive, so the best options. And I thought this was something very creative to do, and it was refreshing. It was a refreshing change from the usual top 10 stuff.
Weapons, then transition into more versatile, and then into aggressive. And I will also include a overall grade for each weapon, so if you guys are curious on just what the best weapons are overall, you can also see that. Starting with the best passive playstyle weapons, we have the PKM and SKS.
Does he include, I'm trying to remember if he includes snipers, because some snipers I would put in as a passive option as well. Often YouTubers, because they tend to play respawns heavily, so do the comp players, which is why some comp players aren't good at S&D. There's Jokesta, pretty much almost exclusively S&D. Some will play it here and there. I'm trying to think if there's someone else. Oh, Zeke, but I don't think he's got a top 10, and he is a sniper. But yeah, the SKS and the PKM. PKM is definitely an amazing gun. I love the sound of it. We had that in my loadout for a bit, but I just went up with too many LMGs. It's not a good practice to have 10 different guns, I don't think. Like, have just a smaller handful that you can use for different needs, using the right tool for the job. And I would use the UL in that place. Less bullets, but I can spam just fine with the RPD cooling barrel. Separate video for snipers, there we go. Should have mentioned it at the start, there we go.
The SKS has largely been considered the best weapon in CODM for a minute, but because of its competitive bans and difficulty to use, it never really gets the meta attention that it deserves.
Yeah, so that was, been following the research scene for a while, and hawksnest was the very first person. That's how I discovered Path and his YouTube channel when it was very small. Actually, it's how I discovered Dusk. You might remember this. Knives iOS, that cheeky little was out there challenging everybody to 1v1s, and hawksnest was the content creator that took him up on that, and it was on this map. They did a 1v1, and that put Knives iOS on the map. They both have the same name, Elijah. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Eli. Just a little bit of flashback there. And yeah, it was Space and Power using this in comp, but predominantly, yeah, it got banned.
But if your aim is ever at
it got banned, and no one else was using it in ranked. Like, that's as soon as we found out, oh, wait, something got banned. And so I did go through a period, and then I was obviously a mod for Space. So I watch his streams when he was using it. It inspires you to try, and he said, if you just use the SKS for a month, that's what he did, you'll get good at it. And he is good at it. I don't have the patience for using something for a month if it doesn't have 100 bullets.
an all-time high, pull this thing out.
Eli works. Hard J. Elijah.
Plus. Next is the PKM. Now, this tank of a weapon has terrible mobility, but is an absolute bullet hose. As long as you're already in a good position in ADS, it'll...
This little thing where he put the what do you call that, the shield up, I was like, I'd never tried that before. I'm gonna have to try
struggle
that.
to lose gunfights, but obviously getting in a good position and getting ADS is the tough part.
That's a good power position, hawksnest. I learned something there.
I'm gonna give this thing an A+.
Yeah, that's the loadout I would use.
Keeping with the theme of LMGs, we have largely considered the best LMG with the UL736, which can 3-shot if you're hitting chest shots up to 41 meters. It is a more aggressive option than the PKM, but it's still an LMG, not an SMG. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna give this thing an S.
An S? So S tier is above the A's. Hang on, let's just go back.
We basically have a more aggressive version of the SKS.
Let me just say a bit more on the UL. It took a while to love the UL. It really did. I've played with it enough now that, yeah, I can use it reasonably aggressively, S&D or some respawns. If it had 100 bullets in that 60 round, it would be perfect for me. But yeah, it's generally my ranged accuracy build, but you can use it in closer range. That 3 shots, if you can get it off, is great.
And that is the FMJ magazine AS
FMJ
Val.
here?
This
okay.
magazine converts the AS Val to a semi-automatic DMR type weapon like the SKS, but it is still different than the SKS. There's a myriad of differences we could talk about. I'll probably just flash up the stats differences so you guys could see the specifics if you want to.
I thought that was a good technique, hawksnest, doing what you did there. I would describe the AS Val with the ammo conversion just as fun. The strafe speed on it, especially if you're chucking like Skulker on, it's just a fun gun to use. If you can pop off with it, and I have got a video or two in my, from like a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, where before this made it to anybody's top 10 lists, I knew it was coming. The iron sight, I don't have any blueprints where the iron sight's great on it. So that's another thing, the SKS, I've got a lot of good, I got at least 2 really good like battle pass SKSs where the iron sight's great. So here was me on Crash on the high rise or 3-story, trying to get across the map, and I was killing them, but I could barely see them. Like, and I'm on a tablet with reading glasses. I'm trying to play a little bit on the phone. I don't know how this is going to work.
Base Val version is a more aggressive, higher mobility version, whereas the SKS is more of a passive playback and, you know, try to hit people from range type. Give it an S. Next up is the Kilo 141 AR.
So you see, we started passive and we're transitioning into the more versatile guns, is what I would call it, presumably heading towards aggressive.
Honestly, there's nothing I can say about this weapon that you guys don't already know. It's been in the meta forever.
Ooh,
it's still a top weapon. Not as good as it used to be, but still top weapon. I'm gonna give it an A+. The LK24 and the KN44. Essentially what it boils down to with the differences between these two is the LK24 is a little easier to use, which allows it to be a little better at range, whereas the KN44 is a little bit more aggressive with better mobility and slightly harder hitting, but that's, I mean, barely. I'm just talking like bullet impact and like 1 extra damage in the first.
hawksnest, were you in the LK camp or the KN camp? I feel you were in the KN camp. We go back a couple of years. This skin here, they had a lot of nice skins on the KN. This is the I think it's a lion, isn't it? KN, since I have my name on the mag. Oh yeah, it is. Look at that, guys. Do you see? That's so cool. You see that? Ferg, Hawks, and Bobby.
Is the only weapon in this list that I'm going to include only if you have a specific skin, and that is, you guessed it, the Mythic Craig.
I should have said Mythic Craig, that's what it would have been my guess. And I totally agree. You're giving up a slot if you don't have this, one of these great, I want to call it an iron sight, but that looks like a red dot. If you've got the Mythic Craig, yeah, this is still a meta gun. There is bullet speed.
Base Craig, the iron sights are abysmal, and that's why we kind of need the Mythic, because with this weapon, if you have put on a red dot, you're essentially losing one of the Black Ops style attachments.
We have a number of guns where the iron sights are a bit iffy, and that is something that bugs me sometimes, is because we see YouTubers using the pay to wins, and they aren't actually mentioning that, hey, but here's your alternative if it's a red dot, or don't bother using it if you don't have it.
Which
So
almost
I
always
respect
only have
that.
benefits.
I respect
So
that.
you're essentially having a 4 attachment Craig as opposed to a 5 attachment Craig.
Yeah, Skulker, if you're a red dot user or a phone user.
Next is a gun that we've seen all over the place the last few seasons, mostly last season, and that is the Growl. This is likely the most versatile weapon in the entire game. Really can't go wrong with it. It's going to perform well at every single range, especially if you have a good build with it. Which, hey, speaking of which, there's a good build. We're starting to get a little bit more aggressive with our weapon options as we get into the second half of the list. You can use this gun to its full potential and be really smart with your ammo usage. Again, best gun in the game. We're going to give it an S+.
Yep, that looks like a solid loadout there. You'll see slightly different variations. I would say most of the people on my friends list have the skill required to do really well with that.
Next, we have a weapon that's been getting a little bit more love in the competitive scene recently, and that is the DRH. I don't have much to say about this. It's a 3-tap AR, arguably the best 3-tap AR in the game right now, specifically with the OTM mag. I would give this thing, let's say an S-. Let's say an S-. We have 4 weapons here that could kind of be interchangeable, and
Jokesta had
that is going
17.
to be the PP19, the PDW57, the CBR,
Quarter?
and the Maddox.
No, I didn't say
Also, quick shout out to the stats on duty.
Oh my god, I thought my computer crashed there. Okay, so Stats on Duty is linked with Path. He turned one of his Discords into their home.
You guys that helped me make this list and a lot of these gunsmiths, especially Lock and Load. Kind of a strange set of weapons.
Nice way to do the shout out, hawksnest. I thought that was good.
Great time to kill, but it has extremely good mobility, especially strafe speed, so you can put on dead silence and just walk around corners and absolutely obliterate people. I got stuck on Japanese servers for a little bit, somehow. I don't know exactly how that happened, but that's literally all everybody was doing, and it was really annoying.
Do you use a VPN? So your account is, because you did when you started, obviously, Oceania. It's an Oceania account. We find sometimes for our lobbies, because it's just not that many people in Oceania, that we occasionally wind up, especially this time of night, on Japanese server. So that might be happening. Also, I don't know if Fearson's still on the chat, but he's in Pakistan, and he was winding up on Japanese servers as well.
Great gun, but again, it doesn't kill as fast as guns such as the CBR4 or the PDW. Now, both of these weapons are kind of similar-ish, and a lot of people will say the PDW is better, and on paper, it is better than the CBR4, but for some reason, I find it way easier to use the CBR4, maybe just because I practice it way more, and also the iron sights are just kind of better on it. You kind of have to use a red dot on the PDW unless you have a great blueprint, but again, on paper, the PDW is a better weapon. weapon. Also, the
My first.
Maddox. This is one that honestly I just wanted to
Maddox.
put in this list in some capacity because I think it's one of, if not the most underrated guns to use in the game, specifically with the Echo Fire mod. It makes it a very, very interesting type weapon that can absolutely destroy if you know how to use it. And lucky for you, I made a video on how to use it that I will link down below. And also this season, it did get a buff to its general, I believe its first damage range, and also a buff to its Echo Fire, I believe now giving you more strafe speed when you put it on. Still a very wildcard type weapon, but I wanted to include it. So next weapons, we're going to be getting into the more ultra aggressive playstyle, starting with the PPSH, which did get a buff this season, taking the stomach multiplier from 1.1 to 1.2, which really only matters from about 10 to 60 meters and 23 meters and beyond. It can affect all ranges kind of, but that's where it will most matter. And with these buffs, the PPSH is now a great aggressive option. I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but still a great fun one to use with a big magazine. Just make sure you avoid hitting leg shots with this thing, as that will really hurt your time to kill, but overall I'm gonna give this thing a S-. We have the Switchblade, which the Switchblade is one of those very kind of unreliable SMGs where the time to kill could go from like a 3-shot to a 5-shot depending on where you're hitting on the body, so you gotta make sure you aim high with this thing. Luckily pretty easy to control the recoil and the BSA is decent, so overall I would give this thing a S.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before, the Switchblade at one point recently, that's the main gun I was dying to. It was annoying. But if I pick it up, I have the experience of what you're saying, inconsistent, but it's probably just me that's inconsistent.
This QQ9, otherwise known as the MP5.
Used to
This
love
thing
this
has
gun.
been around forever. It's one of those very reliable SMGs that you can pull out, just really depending on how your aim is, it doesn't matter. 8A+. List, we have the CX9, which got a myriad of buffs, I believe last season, maybe 2 seasons ago, I forget which one, last season. But basically the buffs allow it to be a more competitive, ultra-aggressive SMG. And when I say ultra-aggressive, I do mean that you have to play this thing very, very aggressive to get the most
think it's
value
the
out of
iron
it,
sight
because
for
it
this.
does have bullet velocity, so it's going to fall off super hard at range, plus all of the other damage stats on it. It's just, you got to play it aggressive. But when you do that, again, it'll absolutely fry in lobbies. I'm going to give this thing a little bit of a lower grade than some of the other SMGs, but still, it's great. I'm going to give it a A+. Now, for the most aggressive fully automatic weapon inside of CODM, we have the Fennec. This thing absolutely fries. We saw it all throughout the World Championship. Granted, that was on a different patch, but still stands. This gun is extremely fast firing, has great hip fire capability.
I was using it when they bloody nerfed it, and nobody was using it in rank. I was the only one using it. And of course it was the Chinese comp scene, they were using it, so that's why we got the nerf. This is going back last year, but you see comp players, pro players using that at range because they've got that control. It's amazing.
Then finally we have the R90 shotgun. This thing's a shotgun. It has 2 shots, so you know it's not super punishing when you miss because you have a second follow-up shot that can still one-shot. I'm gonna give it an A+.
Thank you, hawksnest. Yeah, I really, that was the first top 20 top guns, and it was done in a very different way. I like that. It wasn't just your standard top 10. So that was awesome. Okay, the next one is going to be okay, we're going to show Don Masks. Don Mask is, for those that don't know, a COD Mobile patron, community of the community. He donates, he gifts memberships, most notably on Jokesta's. You will see him in a bunch of other streams as well. And he's gifted memberships as well. And he's a member of the SxC clan. He is, right now, he's the top grinder. He's normally the top grinder. Okay, he does a lot of content. I got to say, from COD Mobile TikTok content, I think his is up there among the best. Okay, what's he got? What was that? Okay, so he's got the UL. These are his guns. These are my top 10. I might do something like this as well. So he's got the UL. This is very quick. He's got the Tundra. I haven't used that yet myself. The Kilo. And yep, nice range build. Same with the Morningstar, I'm guessing. Yep, he's a range player, but then he's got the Switchblade. He's got tools for different occasions. That's what I like. That looks like the Chinese loadout. Comp loadout. The Growl. He's got FMJ on. Yeah, he's out there wallbanging. Yep, that looks standard. He's got a lot of beautiful stuff. SKS. Don's a very good player. He is. When we play together, one of us is on hyping. He's in Europe. He's in Germany. Quickly go through Strange One next because his was the second one. You guys might have seen Strange One Gaming. He does weapons.
Hey
videos.
guys, welcome back.
I don't know whether he's linked with the maybe hawksnest. You can say if you know. Here, let me share this. If you know this guy, I don't know whether he's part of the research community or whether he's someone like me that observes and just steals cygboux loadouts. With the oh no, it's not. It's actually just a normal ASVAL. And then the DRH is number 9. Okay, interesting. So it's a little bit different. And then he's got that's DRH. FFAR, he's got a number 8 spot. Okay, hawksnest, thank you for dropping in actually and adding to the content with your comments. It's been a blast to see you. So thank you so much. And hopefully we see another stream from you soon. It's a good loadout. What do you think of this music? CX9, okay, fine. Fennec with 4. Slightly different loadout. Brow, number 3. Yeah, I mean, so my observation up until very recently, you guys see I play rank and then I wonder why I haven't top fragged. So I go looking at the loadouts and then I take note of which guns. And at one point, every single game, it was 60% were growl. So I think there's, depending on how you do your top 10, but often it's on popularity. You know, there's guns that are statistically better. We see this with Signal all the time. He knows that, you know, if people just use this, they'd find out. But they look towards what the pros are using, and even the pros do that themselves. The comp players, everyone's using the DRH because everyone's using the DRH. Like, they don't want to risk not being part of, you know, what everyone's using. So, yeah, herd mentality. Switchblade number 2, I mean, like I say, I've died to it enough. And HVK. Slightly different sleight of hand, yeah, it does have...
Yes, I know. How can we forget about the shotgun, marksman and sniper? So here are the best shotgun, marksman and...
Tundra is the best sniper. SKS. Okay, I mean, that's a trend we've seen. I think Sigmund might have done it first, which was to throw in at the end, yeah, here's your... It's either a tier 0 or it's, depending on what mode you're playing, you might see this used a lot. Or Greener, you're going to see shotguns. So Bobby plays.
Our balance changes for Season 1 of Call of Duty Mobile 2024 have arrived, which means it's time for our top 10 guns of the season.
Now, Bobby was the first YouTuber, I think, where... Because he used to get ridiculed by the research community. But then, I think it was Peth that just, like, olive branched it maybe, or maybe Bobby reached, I don't know how, I don't remember how it happened, but there was this little partnership going on just to help him out with his loadouts, which I think he appreciated.
Attachment drops, but
so I don't know whether he's partnered with someone for the research for this work. I see IFerg's when he puts his out, and I think, yeah, that dude's got a team helping him. Helping him out.
If you're looking to slow the game down and want to...
Yeah, so there we go. Slightly different loadout there. No barrel. It's got a light stock and granulated. It's fine. There's about 3 or 4 different ways you can build this. It's just personal preference. That's not my preference.
LMG to do so. This is the gun you want to use. Coming in at number 9 is a gun...
And actually, a note on the UL, Bobby was the first content creator and maybe the only one that really sung the praises of the UL. And is it possible that he was instrumental in having that an uptake of use of it in the comp scene at the time? I think it might have been. I think that might be my memory. Actually, I've got to see, as I did talk about how he was ridiculed, but I don't care what you think about him. I think he does need some respect in that he has actually been very instrumental in the comp scene and publicizing it. Obviously, he's set himself as a commentator, but he's also had the opportunity to play with some of these comp players and stuff, and his abilities have improved exponentially since we first saw him. You know, he's as a content creator reasonably competitive himself. He's playing on an iPad, but go ahead and try and 1v1 him in the snipers. You know, see how you go.
Fenny. Even though there are other nice variants that aren't quite as expensive that have nice iron sights, none of them can really match that of the Mythic Fenny, which means you're going to be at a disadvantage on top of the fact that it's one of the more difficult to use weapons on this list due to its lack of bullet spread accuracy and high recoil. With that being said, in regards to potential time to kill, there aren't many guns that can match it, and especially in the close range, you can be an absolute monster even if you do have to use a...
So I don't know whether he's getting advice from someone, because there's plenty of some of these guys from the research community have gone on to be advisors or even more for the comp teams. Thomas, is it Akita? He's Hippo. He is the coach for Luminosity, and he was their weapon advisor to start with. Path was doing a similar role for, it might have been Tribe, memory. It's either that or something like it in the ballpark. But okay, my point is, Bobby's actually saying some really intelligent stuff here. I don't know if he uses a script. Smart people would. I don't, just because it takes too much time, even though I've got a writing background. I think it's really intelligent what he's saying. Range of foregrip, no laser.
Still use the base version and it can still definitely fry. Coming in at number 7, we have the CX9. I've been going kind of back and forth on where I think this should be, because while it definitely is a phenomenal option, it has great base iron sights even for the free version. There are some sizable downsides in regards to the base version and in regards to the burst rounds, which this will make you close to untouchable. Throw on Vulture or full ammo alongside it and you will...
He's talking about the 12 mag, the 9, yeah. So this is what I was talking about earlier, the comp scene, we're experimenting with this. Did this get banned in comp? That might be why they aren't using it. I tried it. Come on, 12 bullets isn't me. I blew through it in 3 seconds.
Will be cruising across the map. Coming in at number 6, we have
but he's talking about the strafe speed on it. So for S&D, like that's why I tried it, because I love the idea of strafing around the map. You know, that's my play style.
KS, this is the gun that's been banned from competitive for probably the longest of anything on this list. And the only reason it's not any higher is because of its lack of versatility, because when it comes to the long range, there's not really any gun that can touch. You guys know this because the gun's been in our top 10 for probably at least 2 years at this point, but it can...
Facts. If you can dedicate some time to using that, you'll be a beast in any mode, just like space. But you got to put in the time, just like you would with any sniper. There's a loadout that looks fine. There's about 3-4 different ways you can build this as well.
Whenever I first saw the stats on the Tundra, I honestly didn't believe what I was seeing, because with those stats being real, why would anybody ever use anything else?
This is what we're hearing. It's the new best sniper. Not everybody's agreeing with that once they've used it. It might just be the same thing we were saying to hawksnest. You know, the DLQ's been in the one-shot meta for years. It was one of the first guns you get in the game. I would say to a new player, if you want to really abuse the one-shot meta, just start with that and just use it. And you can chuck a Taxscope on it, like HissingThoughts does. I'm going to play around with this once it's unlocked and give you my thoughts. This is Gunsmith.
Growl has not received any...
So we're seeing the Growl. It's in the top 10. Some put it up further, back, like towards the 10. Some lower. But it's around the middling.
Type of a nerf over the past couple of seasons. There is a certain evolution to the COD mobile meta that is largely determined by the players that play it the most in pro players. While the Grow's still a phenomenal option and one of the best hybrid type weapons on this list because of how many different attachment options are viable, the Grow does fall down a spot because of a weapon that got introduced into the meta that is now dominating for pro players, and like I said earlier in the video, some pro players even want to see it banned. And whether you're a close range aggressive player or somebody who likes to sit back and play passive. Coming in at number 3, we have the weapon that did actually end up passing the Growl on our list. The DRH with the OTM mag has now moved into number 3 for the top guns in COD.
So like I said, I've had some pro players tell me that they're serious, that it's the number 1 gun for them. But Bobby's got this at number 3. I guess if you play with it enough, could be. But then that's true of any gun. It is powerful. I wouldn't put it in the top 3.
This was a gun that was inside our last top 10 guns list, and I was kind of curious whether or not it would move further up the list. Like we talked about in the last one, a player named Uling from China completely dominated in Snapdragon Pro Series Masters for the Chinese region and locked in the number 1 spot for Q9 using this gun specifically. Because the DRH has gotten so many buffs over the last few years, it went from a niche AR that really couldn't do anything outside the close range to a really solid long range option now that it has good bullet spread accuracy, see it can stack damage range and play at range, or a lot of SMG.
It's just the bullet capacity. That's the thing. My concern with the DRH, especially now that I've got a free legendary that I love, that turning people into snakes is my thing. If it's overused, if it's overly popular, it'll get a nerf, and then it's just like, what's the point? It's his loadout. Okay, and then he's got the switchblade.
In my mind, this is the #1 SMG for the general player base.
Okay, yeah, well, I mean, like I say, that's the thing I died to. So in my experience, that's true. And then he's got the HVK #1.
Pick one gun that I think should get a nerf, this would probably be it. But that's gonna.
How would you nerf it though, Bobby? What would you do? That's just to force people to stop using it. What we see generally these days is there's a slight adjustment, and a new gun comes in, or another gun gets buffed, and that's how it changes. That's how it works. Okay, I thought that was a good video. Kith is from Garena.
If you've been keeping up with the recent updates,
He's from the research community.
you might not be surprised to learn that the weapon rankings haven't shifted much. Weapon for beginners, 2 shots above the legs or 1 chest shot.
SKS,
Potentially kill an enemy
PP
in 3 shots
Bison.
with a very low flinch in terms of performance.
PP Bison has been in the top 10 meta for some time as well. People call it the new noob gun because it's just so easy to use and beam with. I use it slightly differently, but that has been true of the past. So if you're having a bad day, it's a safe gun to go to. And I think that's a fine ranking for it. 8th is the KN and LK, so he's also combining those two. UL #6, so he's got the UL a bit higher. Yeah, I don't use the laser, I use a stock.
Head, which
He's got the Peacekeeper in. So, Flex Weapon has been in the off meta for ages only because it was the #1 gun for a very short period of time. Got a nerf to its stock, which affected the strafing speed. I think that's what it was. And new guns came in, but the Peacekeeper is still bloody good, and he's got in his top
is
10.
incredibly consistent compared to other similar weapons. A pretty obstructive iron sight
Oh,
and one of
I think it got a buff to its recoil pattern at one point, which really helped. But yeah, if you have don't have that white battle pass iron sight, then it sucks.
the weirdest recoil patterns, and to control it, you'd have to move your finger like if you were throwing an S but inverted. Now for the Grau, we have 19 meters of consistent 4-shot kill range, 29 meters of potential 4-shot kill range. If
Peacekeeper was one of the first guns that Cygboux campaigned for ages, telling people how good it was, and then it got a buff, I think it was, to the recoil control, and then the comp players started using it, and then it got a nerf, which is a shame. So I did use it, but the recoil for me was a bit hard to use at range.
you're the gunsmiths for the Grau, you can try the first one, which is the basic flex build, or you can go with the second one.
He's got the
It's a bit
Grau
more
and the
passive, but
Peacekeeper
does
together.
the job well. Here's the gunsmith for the Peacekeeper. Kilo 141 and Krieg 6 are pretty much the
What we saw historically was the LK and the Kilo being paired together. Now it's the LK and the KN, and the Kilo and the Krieg together. So if I had to choose between them, I'd go Kilo just on iron sight, because we've discussed that.
same purpose and
Oh,
do
it's
it the
Fennec.
same way. They all have an effective range of about 22 meters with great mobility and fast fire rate. The Fennec and the CX9 have the fastest fire rate with more than 1,000 RPM.
Okay, he's lumping them all together. Aggressive SMGs,
PDW57 and FFAR are pretty
lumping those together. You just don't see people using a rank, so why is that?
and about 30 meters. The PDW
It does have a slow reload, the PDW.
and just reload speed as
Sucks.
fast as the
Needs a
P7
buff.
instead of the laser, which I equipped just to is the HVK30 again.
Okay.
It has one
Yeah.
mobility.
Yeah,
changing
HVK all
Click
the
this
way,
video to
all
learn
day,
more.
every day. Yeah, I recommend Keith. He does good stuff. Godzly.
These are the top 10 loadouts in Call of Duty Mobile. #1, we have the HVK.
He did something different. He went from 1 to 10. Okay, so HVK, cool. Yeah, I mean, let's take this loadout, go home. There you go, done. 5-minute video, which I respect as well. He did it himself. Okay, 2 is it the Fennec? I do try and catch him when he streams, and he does definitely use the Fennec. That's the other thing is do these guys use the gun that much? It's a good tell. He's got the Growlers 3. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with this. It's the Kilo. It's the Switchblade. This is a good top 5. And he's got the CX9.
Quote me on that. And then just like my Fennec loadout, I run Concussion, but instead I run Skulker. Next up, we have the SKS.
So it's good. He talks about gunsmith is your attachments. Loadout includes everything we're looking at right now. That's what a loadout is. He's got the SKS. He's got the DRH as well.
Massive buff. It currently has no downsides to rocking it, so a lot of pros are using this gun right now. Not in an LMG meta anymore. Thank God. I'm not a fan of
Shut your mouth, Godzly.
LMGs, but the UL is still.
Shut your mouth. He's using the light barrel. See, the only people I know that use the light barrel is IFerg and now Godzly. Takes away from what its actual niche is, which is a long-range beam. As long as it's not snipers looking at you. If you were to build this aggressive, like with the new suppressor barrel, there's just better guns to use. So I'd like to see you using this Godzly actually, to see what it's like, because I've tried it and it's not good.
Very, very strong. And then I run agile because it does take a while to zoom in with.
Okay, you lost me at agile as well. Tundra.
Loadout number 10, we have the new Tundra Sniper. This thing is amazing. This is taking over COD Mobile right now. I have a really strong build. I just put it in my lap.
Anytime a sniper's taking over COD Mobile, it sends shivers down my spine. That said, I was I know start of last year, this time last year, I was still on my sniping grind. I was the DLQ.
All right, guys. So a brand new season.
Okay, the next one we've got is Vague, the guy that everybody in India and China hates. In the past, he's done videos where it kind of feels like he's just trolling or not putting a lot of, like, he doesn't really believe the guns. So better to watch him stream and see what he actually uses, or see him in comp. Anyway,
all right, guys. So
comp player you'll probably see him move into content creation.
A brand new season just.
Okay, well, what's interesting about this is he's a pro player, and this is perspective from him. So it's refreshing to see differently.
Is one of the reasons why is actually banned in competitive, but the
he's confirming it was banned.
This mag itself isn't up to par with other SMGs such as the Switchblade and Fennec, which is why I have it that low on the list.
Okay, and then the Switchblades.
Reason one is
higher
because of the fact that it has a great amount of range, which can gun anybody, no matter if it's short, mid, or long, which is actually one of the special features that the CBR4 gave us a long.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's been my experience on the receiving end of it. Fennec next.
X9 burst mag, and because of that fact, we are
everyone uses the Fennec
championship, and one of the builds that I'm currently using for the Masters event. So with that being said, let's get into go to 3
SKS. Okay, so he's a comp player, but he's giving you ranked loadouts because some of these guns aren't actually available in comp. So there you go. That's the context.
At number 3, we do have the Grau. Now this AR right here is definitely one of the best hybrid ARs you guys can use.
Okay, I think what he's saying is absolutely fine. I don't have any issues with this info.
And if you guys don't have the Mythic version, all good. You guys can definitely replace one of the attachments to replace or a red dot sight.
Or like I said, use the
and the reason why is because it allows you to have a 3-tap potential.
Hang on. Is he saying the DRH is number 1?
Currently number 2.
Let's get
into our second gun of our list. Coming in at number 2, we do have the DRH. This is actually one of the few guns that has taken the competitive scene on a roll, and the reason why is
honestly
because
it's everywhere.
Lot of people are currently demanding that we ban the OTM mag, which is the main reason why this gun is as good as it is.
Yeah, if they ban it, that's it, it's dead.
As the HVK's large caliber to
I mean, here's the truth. If you compare it with the HVK, there's no comparison. The HVK is better. And then he's got the HVK with number 1. There you go. There you go.
That is
okay, yeah, solid. It's going to get banned. Yeah, I think you're right. Nothing to oppose on Vague's video. I think that was a solid video from him. The guy that... I get comments, anti-Vague comments in some of my videos. it's trolling ways caught up with him. Okay, we're going to include Carnage. He's in India, a big Indian streamer. We're going to mute the music just because it's probably... Okay, so he's got the DRH. He's not speaking. Top 5 loadouts, okay. And then the Tundra, he's a good player. He was number 1. I forgot. I was playing rank with him in Viking on India server S&D, I think it was, when he was number 1 in the world a couple of years ago, and then he got banned repeatedly. They had to whitelist his account because it was false bans, false reporting. that was going on. Remember those days? Remember those days? You just didn't like losing, so you just report everybody, hoping they get banned. That was going on, trust. That was not good. Okay, then he just finishes it off with some gameplay, so. Okay, the last one we've got. Yeah, we're finally there, guys. So, unless Cygno's come out with a video while I've been streaming. Oh, no, we are going to do a Cygno. We're going to finish with Cygno. Sorry, this is the penultimate. This is Aerith.
Covering the top 5 guns of Season 1 in...
She doesn't have COVID, guys. The story is her parents don't want her showing her full face in public.
Call of Duty Mobile. And this is also my first ever top 5 guns list of 2024.
She's got good lighting, good camera, professional setup, color coordinated.
No, what guns? You guys might change.
I do actually watch her streams, and I engage with her community. They're cool.
And before we start, a huge shout out to Call of Duty Mobile,
Sponsored
which is
video.
also a reason why this gun is actually banned in competitive.
The audio is just a little bit loud. She's just. I wonder if she did it to herself. She might have boosted the audio, which is fine. It's a good technique. SKS.
So because of the higher skill gap and the fact that this gun is...
Skill gap's a good thing to point out. Like when I'm talking about you playing with that gun for a month, that's to get over the skill gap. Otherwise, pick up a gun and run with it, you know? So you can play with anything if you sit with it long enough. So there's a skill gap for it. Even, you know, I've used it, I can pop up with it, and I can have some stinker games with it. So she's had to play with this probably while she was streaming. She's just gotten content. That's generally the way you do it. But that works quite well when you're talking about the gun and you can show, hey, popping off with it. Cool.
Number one most...
Because that's what I care about. You're telling me about these things. Have you actually played with them all?
Used SMG in all of the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship of 2023.
She uses the Fennec a lot.
And for good reason. Pairing this gun with...
On this map. Gung-ho.
Gung-ho and stim shots, you are sure to fly across your opponent's screen and giving them little...
Yeah, gung-ho is a thing. Yep, that's it. It's Erling.
Newer addition to my list, but there's a good reason. Not only is this a 3-tap assault rifle, this gun has been talked about non-stop, especially from pro players requesting the gun to get banned. But...
It'll get banned then. It's fun.
Now onto the number 2 weapon of Season 1.
CX9.
That is the CX9 with the 9mm hollow point ammo. With only
I've seen her using this as well, so a good player will absolutely destroy with this. You're reloading a lot though.
12 bullets per mag. This is competitive.
And a top gun, what is it, guys?
However, this gun is still definitely a top 3 AR for me, so I would still recommend using it.
Wait. Was that a special mention?
Into the number 1 weapon of Season 1. Here are some honorable mentions.
Oh, honorable mention. So she didn't even have that in her top 5. I wouldn't either. If I do one, it's going to be based on what I use.
Is the Kilo, especially
Kilo.
Scar can beam players across.
And her top is, what is it, guys? HVK.
In the last few seasons.
Okay, very good. It's all consistent. Okay, the last one's going to be Cygno. Now, he hasn't actually done his top 10 list yet. Actually, let's confirm. No, he hasn't, but he did a top 5 list. I know.
Attachments.
So yeah, you guys know it. Most of my loadouts are Cygno ones. It used to be the Cygno or Path. Cygno's recoil control was pretty damn good, and so sometimes like Path's community, they would factor in recoil and stuff like that you're not a recoil god, and I found those gunsmiths were sometimes better for me. But yeah, consistently, I think if I went through my top 10 right now, you'd see most of them are either Cygno loadouts or pretty damn close. So he's just doing the top 5. Stop using old meta. Top 5 new meta.
Hitting one chest shot.
Yeah. So I accidentally, well, I didn't accidentally. I had this in my loadout. I was using it tonight. And he's got a bunch of different loadouts for it. So there's the main one that he uses. Oh no, that's not the main one actually. This is for if you wanted to have a bit of range. But it's a versatile. I think it's a Black Ops gun. Bunch of different attachments. And honestly, it's just amazing that it isn't as like this isn't the number 1 gun. That it's not as widely used. It's so versatile. If you're a Fennec fan, this should be your AR. If you got good with this, you wouldn't need the Fennec.
would recommend using Skulker to give SMG like ADS movement, making it more challenging for enemy to hit us and allow us to win mid to long range guns.
Yeah, so you've heard me say I use the PP Bison against snipers in S&D on certain maps. This would be a great pairing as well, very aggressive, and I like that he's giving you the perk complementary perks as well. So this is number 4.
Recall is no longer
New meta?
a problem, making PPSH a meta-worthy alternative to SMGs like Switchblade. I use Wind Mono to boost the range, and we get 11 meters of fast time to kill with 25 meters of effective range, and support the video by donating so I can work.
I think I was Cygnou's first donator years ago, and then when he started premiering with the ability to, I think I gave him his first donation there too, so yeah. Yeah, me.
And future, Maddox is being slept on.
I wonder what G's loadout was.
Meta-worthy. We get consistent 160.
Yeah, so he goes into he how long is this video? 10 minutes. So it's five guns, and he goes into quite a bit of detail. And he's, I think, shouting out his community of researchers.
Man of War is what I'd recommend for
Oh.
passive AR or LMG players.
This is what I was using
who want a
tonight in
good
his
weapon
in
for aiming
Hardpoint.
at range. There are lots of ways to build.
Okay,
Good man of
I
war
was
build,
using
but I prefer the
this
max
loadout right
range
here.
build with red dot usable, as iron sights may make it.
I was trying the red dot with on my phone. But yeah, I really enjoyed using the Man of War tonight. It was the gun I was using when I think I first met
40
Jokesta.
meters off 3
And he's got the Krieg 6, I
something
think.
9.
So basically, if he's saying if you have the mythic or legendary version, then use the Krieg. It's not his top 10 list, but it's showing you how it might go down. He's yet to drop it, but I wanted to finish on that because we missed him last time. That took way longer than I thought I would, but it was still cool. It was still cool hanging out with you. Hey, we got Hawksnest was in the chat. That was bloody awesome. Like, have a big YouTuber drop in. I've known him for a while. He was the first content creator that I was actually able to engage with, and then he stopped doing stuff. And then I found Jokesta. See you later.